chapter 13 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Hanuman in the court of Ravana. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ravana saw Hanuman being dragged to his presence. On his arrival at the palace and in the presence of Ravana, Hanuman opened his eyes. He saw Ravana, the Rakshasa, wearing a beautifully made golden crown set with gems and pearls. He was wearing ornaments made of gold and he was wearing the softest of white silks. The perfume of sandal paste which he had used on his chest and arms was filling the entire hall. His eyes were large and beautiful. He was wearing a necklace of pearls round his neck and his arms were beautified by the bracelets placed on them. He was seated on a throne which was magnificent and he was surrounded by his many ministers, Prahasta, Nikumba and others. Pulled as he was rudely by the jubilant Rakshasas, Hanuman looked with amazement at Ravana and kept on looking. He was dazzled by the glory which was Ravana and told himself, "What a glorious personage! What beauty! What a courageous look! What strength! What radiance!" It is wonderful to see the many glorious qualities which find a home in this king of the Rakshasas. If only this powerful king had not been an adharmi, he can easily be the lord of the Devas themselves. It is because of his cruel and heartless acts that the three worlds with the Devas and the Danavas tremble before him. He is capable of destroying the entire world when he is angry. He is valiant enough. Ravana, who had earned that name because he was making the world cry out of fear of him, looked in front of him and looked into the tawny eyes of Hanuman. For a moment he was taken aback and an unknown fear gripped him. He asked himself, "Can this be Nandi, the devotee of Mahadeva? Perhaps he has kept his promise and come here. Years back, when I lifted the Kailasa peak, I insulted Nandi, and he cursed me that my defeat will be indicted by himself in the form of a monkey. Can this be Nandi then? Or is it Bhanasura?" Ravana looked at Hanuman with fury in his eyes, and turning his eyes on Prahasta, his minister, he said, "Where has he come from? What is his purpose in coming here? What did he achieve by destroying the garden and frightening the Rakshasis there? Ask him why he did all this. Why did he come to our city and indulge in the rare pleasure of destroying the army? Ask him." Prahasta, in response to Ravana's command, turned to Hanuman and asked him, "Monkey, have no fear to answer us. You will come to no harm. If you have been sent here by Indra, tell us the truth and that at once. You will be let off without being hurt. You are a henchman either of Vaishravana or Yama or Kubera, and you have come here to spy the land, I guess. Why did you do so? Or perhaps Narayana has sent you here. It is evident that your appearance like that of a monkey is not real, but it is a guise which has been put on by you. Your valor is not that of a monkey. We want the truth from you. A lie will mean death to you. Why have you come to this temple sacred to Ravana?" Hanuman did not reply him. He would not deign to talk to a mere minister. He turned to Ravana and said, "I have not been sent either by Indra or Yama or Varuna. I have not been acquainted with Kubera, nor am I the emissary of Narayana. I assure you this is no guise which I have donned, but it is my natural self. I am a monkey by birth. I was keen on meeting you, the king of the Rakshasas, and with that end in view, I destroyed the garden with a desire for fight. Several Rakshasas came to me and I fought with them only in self-defense. Not the Devas nor anyone else is capable of binding me with astras. Brahma has granted me that boon and that privilege. Because I wanted to meet you, I allowed myself to be bound by the Brahmastra. When I was tied up by the Rakshasas, the Astra lost its power to bind me. But since I had a reason which is intimately concerned with you, the lord of this island, I allowed myself to be dragged to the presence of you, the king. Let it be clearly understood that I am a messenger from Rama, the invincible. Let me be allowed to talk to you, and it will be for your benefit. Hanuman paused for a long moment and allowed his words to be grasped by them all. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Mate, Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manurame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 13, Part 2 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Hanuman in the court of Ravana. Apada Mahattaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Hanuman then said, O king, I have come here to your presence by the wish and command of my king Sugriva. He wishes you well, and listen to his words, which will be beneficial to you in this world and the next. This is the message of my king. There was a very noble king in the line of Ikshvakus. He was a great warrior, and his name was Dasharatha. His eldest son is Rama. He is a great warrior too, and because of the mandate of his father, he came to the Dandaka forest, accompanied by his wife and his brother, the brave Lakshmana. His wife Sita, who is the daughter of Janaka, was lost in the forest. Prince Rama arrived in the hill Rishyamuka while he wandered in search of his wife. There he met Sugriva, the monkey, and became friends with him. They made a pact, and Sugriva promised to organize a search for Sita, and in return, Rama said that his lost kingdom would be restored to Sugriva. As per his promise, Rama killed Vali and gave the kingdom to Sugriva, his brother. As for Vali, your majesty knows him well enough, I think, that Vali has been killed by Rama with a single arrow. The king Sugriva has sent monkeys in all the four quarters to look for Sita, and they are still engaged in the search for the lost princess. They are all powerful and valiant monkeys. Some of them are as powerful as Garuda, and others as fleet as Vayu. As for me, I am the son of Vayu, and my name is Hanuman. With a desire to locate the hiding place of Sita, I leaped across the sea, which is 100 yojanas in width. While I was wandering around, I happened to see Sita in your house. I was surprised at it. You are a wise king, and you are quite familiar with dharma and the observance of it. It is not becoming that such a noble person like you should keep another man's wife as captive. It is not fit for men of superior intelligence like you to get involved in acts which are not righteous. Which Deva or Dhanava or Asura will be able to withstand the sharp arrows which will be shot from the bows of Rama and Lakshmana? No one who has wronged Rama will escape the suffering which is sure to follow it. Not in the three worlds. Please consider my words. Make up your mind to act in such a manner that it will be according to the dictates of Dharma, and which will benefit your past, your present, and your future. Make haste and return Sita to Rama, who is a god among men. I have seen Sita, and the impossible has been possible for me. The rest is in the hands of Rama. I saw Sita immersed in sorrow, and I am impressed And I am surprised that you do not recognize her to be a five-headed serpent whom you have kept with you with so much affection and love. Like food which is mixed with poison cannot be digested, this woman will prove to be too much for you. This, your life, has been blessed with so much tapas and strict observance of several rutas which demand a control of the senses. It has been blessed by the gods. Do you think it is right that it should all come to an end because of a woman? You are without any care since your tapas has granted you immunity from death by asuras and the devas. Still you seem to have forgotten one factor. This Sugriva is neither a deva nor an asura. He is not a rakshasa and he is not a dhanava. Gandharva he is not, and he is not a yaksha or a pannaga. He is but a monkey, and as for Rama, he is a human being, a mere man. O king, remember this and tell me how you are going to protect yourself. The results of one's righteousness and those of one's trespasses against dharma do not go together. Even dharma is eclipsed if adharma is harbored in the mind. You have so far enjoyed the fruits of your dharma. There is no doubt about it, and it goes without saying that the fruits of your unrighteousness will also be inflicted on you, and you cannot escape them. Remember the destruction in Janasthana. Remember the killing of Vali. Take them as a warning and think again of the friendship of Rama and Sugriva. Consider all these and try to think of a method which will help you to guard yourself from the fate which is imminent. My Vela, the valor of a single monkey is enough to destroy the entire city of Lanka. But that is not the way Rama thinks. He has already decided on the fate of the sinner who has the foolishness to steal his wife from him. Monkeys and bears will form the army of Rama, and Indra himself cannot escape punishment if he has offended Rama. What then of a mere Rakshasa like you? You think of Rama's wife as Sita, a woman whom you have captured and imprisoned. Listen to me and understand that she is like the dark night which will swallow the lustre and glory of Lanka. She is like the noose of death which you have placed on your neck unknowingly. Enough of this foolishness and think of the best course of action. You must realize that Sita is like fire which is certain to burn up this city with its beautiful gardens and mansions. Rama's anger is deadly. Please protect your friends, your kinsmen, ministers, brothers, children, wealth, your women, and all the beauty which is Lanka. Listen to my words and act accordingly. Rama can destroy all the entire universe and create it again. There is no one who can oppose him in the three worlds. Having offended Rama, it will not be possible for you to live long. No one can help you, not Indra, nor Brahma, nor the three-eyed Rudra. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Mati, Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 13, Part 3 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Hanuman in the court of Ravana. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Ravana's anger was mounting with every word uttered by Hanuman. He was beside himself with anger, and he promptly ordered that the monkey should be put to death. Vibhishana, the brother of Ravana, felt that this was not the right action on the part of Ravana. He was a Rakshasa who was righteous minded, and he thought about how to dissuade Ravana from taking this wrong decision. The king was very angry, and it was not easy to talk to an angry person, more so when he is the king. Vibhishana was wise, and he could use words which had the proper effect. He spoke softly to the king. He said, "Be calm, O king. Do not give way to anger. Listen to my words. It is a convention among kings that no messenger should be put to death. Your orders that this monkey should be executed is against all codes of dharma which a king should observe. It does not become a king like you, a great emperor known the world over, to do this to a mere messenger. I do not have to teach you the nuances of dharma nor about the code of behavior. You are at home in all the rules of kinship, and you know the intricacies of it. When a wise man like you gives in to the sway of anger, the proficiency in the Shastras which you have attained will all go waste. You are the undaunted lord of all of us, and it is not right that you should be carried away by anger. You should consider the situation calmly and punish the monkey properly." Ravana was not willing to listen to Vibhishana. His anger had not abated yet. He said, "Death as a punishment is not wrong when it is meted out to wicked ones like this monkey. He is a menace and a sinner, and I see nothing wrong in putting him to death." Vibhishana pursued his argument and said, "No, you should not do so, my lord. On no account should a messenger be put to death. The rules are very clear about it. The wise have declared it to be so. No doubt he is an enemy. He has caused untold harm to us. Good people have prescribed different types of punishment to different people. Except death, you can pronounce any other form of punishment. That is allowed. Whipping, maiming, shaving off their head, or marking them with scars are all punishments allowed for a messenger, but not death. A righteous king like you should not lose your name because of the anger in your mind. And again, there is not particular gain in killing this monkey, but the punishment should actually be given to those who have sent him. Whether he is docile or wicked or aggressive is immaterial. He is here only to convey the message sent by the enemy. He is doing his duty, and by himself he is guiltless. Therefore, he should not be killed. Taint will be mirch, your name, and it should not be courted. You gain nothing by the judgment you have pronounced except the censure of the wise and infame. Attempts should be made to attack the princes who have dispatched the monkey. You have any number of brave and good warriors who can fight for you to the end. To destroy these two human beings, a small army can be sent, and your wishes will be done. Only do not kill this monkey. It is not the right thing to do." Ravana was convinced now that Vibhishana spoke the truth. He was not willing to court the censure of the wise and the discerning, and he accepted the advice of his brother with good grace. Ravana was still worried about Hanuman. He told himself, "I am certain that it is Narayana's glory which has assumed the form of a monkey with the purpose of killing me. Is it his radiance? Is he Brahma himself? Or is it the Brahman itself? I wonder." Ravana held back his anger with great effort and spoke to Vibhishana. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sitaram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 14 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Conflagration in Lanka. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Ravana said, Vibhishana, you are right. It is wrong to kill a messenger from the enemy. I must think of some other punishment for him. I have it. Nothing is dearer to a monkey than its tail. He is extremely proud of his tail. Let the tail of this impertinent monkey be set on fire and let him go back to where he came from without his tail. His friends and those who sent him will see his desolate condition, and that will be punishment enough for him and a warning to the others. Let his tail be lighted and let him be dragged through the streets of the city. Let every one of the citizens see him and jeer at him. The Rakshasas were only too happy to do his bidding. They brought cloth woven out of cotton and placed it round the tail. They wrapped it tightly and Hanuman grew in size. They dipped his tail in oil and set fire to it. It was an immense tail, and the sight of it catching fire made them happy. Many of the citizens of Lanka came there to see the monkey and the burning of its tail. Women, children, and old men also came from their houses to see the wonder. Hanuman was now well and truly angry. He hit the Rakshasas with his tail, and they caught hold of him and tied him up. Hanuman thought, it will be very easy for me to break these bonds and rush at them to kill them. No one can touch me, but then my task will remain unfulfilled and I will be failing in my duty. I will bear the indignity and humiliation of being insulted by these people. I saw the city during the night. I can now get a chance to see it in daylight, and I can supplement the knowledge I have already gained. They will be dragging me through all the streets, and that suits me to perfection. My mind is unaffected by their jubilation. The Rakshasas tied him up firmly and they dragged him through the streets of Lanka, and his tail was blazing all the while. They made a lot of noise, and Hanuman walked very quietly with them as though he had decided to be docile, finding their might to be superior. He had a good view of Lanka and he walked silently with them. People scoffed at him and he heeded them not. Some of the Rakshasis rushed to Sita and said, Sita, do you remember that red-faced monkey with whom you were talking this morning? He is being dragged through the streets of the city, and the king has ordered that his tail should be burnt. They have set fire to it and it is blazing. Sita was horrified at the fate of Hanuman. Pain was writ on her face and tears welled up into her eyes. She invoked Agni, the god of fire, in her mind, and with a view to helping Hanuman, she said, If it is true that I have served my lord and husband, if it is true that I have considered my husband as my only god, if it is true that I have observed all the vritas and performed tapas with a pure mind, then let not Hanuman feel your heat. If it is true that Rama has any affection for me, if there is at least a small amount of good fortune which is due to me, let Hanuman be unaffected by you. If it is true that my only prayer is to be with Rama once again, let Hanuman be free of your fiery touch. Agni was prompt to obey her injunctions. He was cool like the paste of sandalwood, and the wind Vayu blew softly on his son. Hanuman was, in the meantime, amazed at the fact that fire had not hurt him at all. He asked himself, Though my tail is burning so bright, I do not feel the heat at all, and my tail is not being burnt up. I feel a coolness as though sandal paste has been applied to my tail. There is no doubt about it. This is as amazing as the appearance of a mountain in the middle of the sea when I was coming here. When the Lord of the Seas was filled with respect for Rama, so much so he sent my Naka to greet me. Is it a wonder then that the god of fire has decided to leave me unhurt? Sita's compassion and the glory of Rama and the friendship of my father must have made Agni refrain from hurting me. Hanuman had seen all that was to be seen. Suddenly, he roared and sprang into the air. He gave them all a jolt. He grew to a more enormous size, and he reached the top of a roof which was not easily accessible to the captors who were dragging him along. He made himself small enough to make the bonds slip from him and grew again to enormous proportions. He grasped a pillar in his hands and beat up all those who dared to approach him. He sat for a moment thinking on his further course of action. What remains to be done? He asked himself, what can I do now to hurt Ravana further? His garden is destroyed. Several of his good fighters are gone. I have killed one of his sons. I should now set about on the task of destroying his fort. This fire which was used to punish me has been denied its food, since he does not hurt me. It is but right that I should feed him. I will set fire to the mansions in the city. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 14, Part 2 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Conflagration in Lanka. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Hanuman was like a cloud lit by lightning as he leaped from housetop to housetop. Active to an unbelievable degree, assisted by Vayu, Hanuman was busy setting fire to house after house, mansion after mansion, palace after palace. It was a terrible fire which rose to the skies, plied with the food supplied by Hanuman. The houses of all the important courtiers of the king were burnt up. All the rich brocades and silks and precious articles in the mansions and palaces were reduced to ashes. Hanuman finally landed in the house of Ravana, and he touched it also with fire, and soon it grew into a blaze. The city was aflame, and the leaping flames made one think of the conflagration at the end of the Yuga. The citizens who were so full of exuberance a while ago were now panic-stricken. Screams could be heard everywhere, and there were innumerable deaths as people jumped down from the terraces of the burning houses, and Hanuman was unaffected by the havoc he had caused. The flames were licking everything they touched. Perhaps, thought the people, when Lord Mahadeva burnt the three worlds, it must have looked like this. The sound made by the buildings tumbling down and the cries of the distress from the people added to the crackle of fire, and they were all together making a terrible noise, and it seemed to reach the sky. Hanuman seemed to be a being from another world. They could not believe that a mere monkey could be capable of so much valor. It was evidently not born of this earth. Fright was writ large on the faces of the people in Lanka. Hanuman had completed his self-appointed task of destroying the city, and he now stood on top of the hill by name Trikuta. His tail was still burning, and he thought of Rama. The heavenly host praised Hanuman for his great achievement, and his anger was appeased to an extent when he thought of Rama. He reached the sea, and dipping his tail in it, he extinguished the fire which had burnt up the city of Lanka. He was suddenly struck with a dread fear. He felt that he had been too impulsive in setting fire to the city. He told himself, I should not have done it. The really wise and great people will be able to control surging anger and hold it back. Like water which quenches fire which is burning, they should use their intelligence to control their anger. Only such men are considered to be wise, great, and to be the best among men. Man is easily prone to commit sins when he is angry. No one is exempt from this law. An angry man may kill even those who are to be respected. He will talk to good people with a lack of respect which is unforgivable. One who is a slave to anger will not be able to discriminate between what should be spoken and what should not be. There is nothing he will not do. The really great man will shed anger like a snake sheds his skin. I now censure myself for this act of mine which was impulsive and thoughtless. When I set fire to the city, I forgot that Sita is in the city. When the entire city has been burnt, it stands to reason that she has been burnt also. Foolish, senseless traitor that I am, I have betrayed my master. I have ruined the future for Rama. I have seen Sita, and yet, because of this fire, she has been killed by me. I have not taken her safety into consideration. I have struck at the root of happiness for Rama and killed it. There is no place in Lanka which has been left untouched by fire, and it follows that Sita has been burned to death. Because of my stupidity, I have brought ruin on everyone. The only course open to me is to lose my life. I should drown myself or become a victim to fire. It is the curse of monkeys that to them fickleness is second nature. My rajasic quality, which is not controlled by the mind, should be condemned. Even I, who should be above the sway of emotions, became a slave to anger. Hanuman was sunk in the depths of despair. Even as he was standing thus, desolate on the shores of the sea, he thought again. Perhaps her glory and her divinity would have prevented fire from approaching her. Her chastity would have held it at bay, and fire is incapable of touching her. She is herself a heap of fire. It is Rama's glory and her purity that prevented the fire from hurting me. When such an insignificant monkey like me could be spared, how then can she be burnt? Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 14, Part 3 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Conflagration in Lanka. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Hanuman convinced himself that she was safe. Hanuman convinced himself that Sita was safe. He was still pondering on it when some charanas who were passing by in the sky spoke some words within his hearing. They said, "It was indeed a miracle which happened in Lanka. Hanuman had set fire to the entire city and nothing is left of it. And yet, there is one person who is not harmed at all, and that is Sita." Hanuman was thrilled to hear the words of the charanas, and he prostrated before the great Rama in his mind. Though he was sure now of her safety, Hanuman wanted to see Sita once again before he left Lanka. "I will salute the Devi under the Shimshupa tree, and I will express my relief at her safety and then proceed to the north on my journey back." He went to where Sita was. She was overjoyed to see him and said, "I am convinced that you can alone destroy this entire Rakshasa host. There is no limit to your power. Go back to Rama and give him the message of mine that I am waiting impatiently for his coming." Hanuman said, "Rama will soon be here surrounded by his army of monkeys and bears. You can be without any worry." He prostrated before her and took leave of her. Hanuman was eager to go back to Rama and give him the great news, and he hurried to the top of the hill by name Arishta. He strode on the surface of the top, and the rocks were crushed by him and his heavy steps. As he did on the top of the Mahendra mountain, Hanuman grew in size. He took one leap at the sea surging under him, and he sprang into the air, his face towards the north. The mountain was pressed down by his weight, and it was pushed down into the earth. The trees were like broken twigs, and there was a great crashing noise made as they fell to the ground, accompanied by the rocks which had been dislodged in profusion. Serpents and lions left their hiding places and came out in terror. The rocks were covered by the poisons which the serpents were spitting out of their fear. Hanuman was in the air after shaking the mountain away from his great feet. Spurred by his eagerness to reach Rama and pleased with himself since he had achieved his objective, Hanuman was finding it very easy to cross the sea. It seemed as though he were swallowing the sky with his immense frame. He seemed to touch the moon, and he seemed to pass very close to the sun and the region of the stars. The clouds were pulled along with him because of his speed. He passed through the sky where the clouds were tinted in myriad hues. Some were white, some red, and others were blue and yellow. There were some which were tinted green and red, and it was beautiful to see Hanuman streaking like lightning through them. Roaring like a rain cloud, he coursed through the sky like an arrow shot from a bow. He met the mountain Mainaka, and he set up such a roar when he went near it. After stroking it with affection, he went on his way. Soon he was nearing the Mahendra mountain, and here could be heard the roar which he set up. The four quarters resounded with the echo of his roar. As he neared the spot where his friends were awaiting him, he shouted to them and shook his long tail. The triumphant cry of Hanuman was heard everywhere. The Vanara host, which was waiting for him eagerly and with great anxiety, heard his war cry. They waited for him to land. Jambavan called them all together and said, "It is evident that Hanuman has been successful in his adventure, or else he would not have sounded so jubilant." The entire army was dancing with joy in anticipation of the good news which Hanuman was sure to bring to them. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sitaram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Padamastu. Chapter 15 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, the return of Hanuman. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. They ran hither and thither in excitement, and pulling out flowering branches from the trees nearby, they waved them about in ecstasy. Hanuman could be heard approaching, and they stood with their palms folded together while he landed on the mountain Mahendra. The monkeys rushed to him and stood around him. They were greatly relieved to see him come back without any mishap. They tried to serve him with fruits and roots and asked him to refresh himself. Hanuman approached Jambavan and Angada and saluted them. They welcomed him with great affection, and Hanuman said, "In the pleasure garden of Ravana, in a garden by name Ashokavana, I saw her. She was surrounded by Rakshasis who had been placed to keep watch on her. She was thinking only of Rama, and it was sad to see her covered with dust, thin because of her eternal fast, with her hair twisted into a single strand and lying on her back like a dark serpent." The monkeys, as soon as they heard the words, "Sita has been found," jumped in the air and showed their happiness by various demonstrations. Angada said, "In this entire world there is no one like you. No one can equal you in valor and might. You have crossed the sea and you have come back safe after succeeding in your task. Your devotion to our master is great. Your achievement is indeed incomparable. The noble queen of Rama has been seen by you because of our great and good fortune. Rama will soon be rid of his sorrow. They all stood around looking at Hanuman, eager to hear in detail about his journey to Lanka and about Sita. Mahendra mountain was looking glorious with Hanuman and Angada and all the others crowding on it. Jambavan made them all sit down and he asked Hanuman, "Tell us how Sita was found by you. How is she? How does Ravana behave towards her? We are all eager to know all about everything. Relate to us the happenings in Sri Lanka. In Lanka. We will listen to you and later we will decide as to what should be done. There may be some facts which can be told now and some which may have to be suppressed. You are wise enough to know all about it. Tell us everything now. We are eager and impatient to know." Hanuman made obeisance to Sita by prostrating towards the south and then began his recital. He told them about the Mainaka hill and about Surasa. He told them how he had to outwit her and then he came to the incident of Simhika whom he had to kill. Then followed his landing in Lanka and his encounter with Lankini, the guardian of the city. He spoke in detail about going into the Antapura of Ravana in search of Sita. They listened as though they were spellbound and they suffered with him as he told them of his frustration which he met with everywhere. He told them how he felt that he would never reach the end of the sea of sorrow. Then came the visit to Ashokavana, which was the only place which he had not scrutinized. In the midst of that great garden was a Simshupa tree, said Hanuman. I sat on that tree and looked all around me. The moon had come up in the heavens and I could see clearly. A short distance from there, in a temple-like shelter, I saw her. I saw Sita. In the midst of the Rakshasis, she was like a stricken deer surrounded by tigresses. She was seated on the ground, the bare ground, and she was weeping all the time. Hanuman here wiped his own eyes and continued his recital. He told them about his shrinking himself to the size of a kitten and hiding himself among the leaves of the trees, about the coming of Ravana and his words to Sita, about his threats and his ultimatum. Hanuman told them everything in great detail and the recital was thrilling to the listeners. What had been abandoned as a hopeless task had been achieved and Hanuman had saved their lives. He recounted to them the dream which Trijata had spoken of and about the despair of Sita. He then told them how he made himself known to Sita, about her initial distrust and about how he had convinced her that he was from Rama. He was happy when he described in detail the several words he spoke and which Sita had spoken and how she gave him the jewels to be given to Rama in return for the ring. He came to the destruction of the Ashokavana. The monkeys who were listening were now greatly excited when they heard how Hanuman had killed the many chiefs of the army of Ravana and about the death of a son of the king. This was greatly of their liking and they jumped in the air, waved their tails and embraced each other. Hanuman told them about his getting bounded by the Brahmastra and about his encounter with Ravana in his court. When they were told about the death sentence which had been pronounced on him, they listened in silence and then, with a slight smile on his face, Hanuman described graphically the burning of Lanka. The excitement of the monkeys was gratifying to him. Each one of them thought that he has done it himself and they laughed. They screeched and they jumped in the air and kissed their tails again and again. They were astonished at the miracle which made him immune to the effects of the fire, which was blazing at the tip of his tail, and about Sita being unharmed by the fire which destroyed the rest of Lanka. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 15, Part 2 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, the return of Hanuman. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nataya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Hanuman said, I went and saw her again to make sure that she was safe. I saw her again and took leave of her, and I hurried to your presence. There is a mountain by name Arishta there, and from the top of that mountain I leaped on to the air, since I was impatient to meet all of you, to bring you the happy tidings that Sita is there in Lanka and to end your worries. I have come back, and my service has been rendered to my king and to Rama. My mission has been fruitful because of the grace of Rama, because of the good wishes of all of you, and because of the desire to please our king. I managed to succeed when I least expected to. I have told you everything that happened in Lanka. Let us now decide on the future course of action. He paused for a moment and said, It is our good fortune that Sita has not been harmed in any way by that sinful Rakshasa. Rama's sorrows will soon be at an end, and our king will be released from the solemn promise he has made. When I think of the immensity of Ravana's crime, I am surprised that he is still alive. I then realized the tapas he has performed, which is what is protecting him. He is a great man. He has performed intense tapas and has pleased Lord Mahadeva himself with his devotion, and that is what is guarding him. Or else, touching fire is not as terrible as touching Sita, the wife of the Lord. She is sitting patiently there under the tree by name Shimshupa, the very picture of woe and despair. Like the moon hidden by a bank of clouds, she is there, hiding her glory. She does not consider Ravana as anyone important enough to talk to. As I told you, she placed a blade of grass between her and Ravana as she spoke to him, making him realize that she has as much respect for him as she has for that blade of grass. Her mind is ever set on Rama, and she has no other thought in her mind. She is a pathetic figure, and we must hasten to her rescue. Rama will find it very easy to kill Ravana and rescue her. She could have killed Ravana with the fire of her Pativritya, but she respects Rama so much that she wants him to rescue her. After listening to the thrilling narrative of Hanuman, Angada the prince said, We should try our utmost to do the needful. Under the leadership of Jambavan, we can strive to reach the goal. I can, single-handed, accost Ravana and his army. Is there any doubt of our destroying him and his entire host if we all go together? I can kill him and his kinsmen and his sons. I am familiar with astras like Brahma, Aindra, Vayavya and many others. I can tackle the astra warfare of Indrajit. Give me permission to go, and I will come back crowned with glory. I will rain stones on their army, and it will all be crushed beyond any recognition. Hanuman is enough to work havoc in their ranks. If all of us, Panasa, Neela, aided by Dvividha and Maindha, who have been granted boons, attack the army of Ravana, we can destroy it completely. Let us go back to Rama with Sita, who will be rescued by us. If we go back and say, Sita has been found, but we have not brought her with us, it will not be pleasing to the ears of our king and those of Rama. We are a powerful army and all the world knows of our valor. It is of such a high order. Hanuman will single-handed do the needful and we can go back to our Kishkinda with Sita Devi, who has been captive all these many months. Our king will be pleased with what we have done. Jambavan listened with an indulgent smile to the words of young prince, who was very dear to him. When the enthusiastic talk of Angada was ended, he said, "You are right, Angada, my prince. It is not an impossible task that you have suggested. We can easily do it. Still, I feel that Rama should know the situation and we should leave it to him to decide on the future course of action which should be adopted by us. Sita herself, I gather from Hanuman's words, wants Rama to go to Lanka, punish the miscreant and take her back with him. Let us go back to Kishkinda and relate the entire happenings to Rama and to our king. We will leave the future in their hands." Angada and Hanuman with the rest of the group accepted the advice of Jambavan, since they considered him to be the wisest of them all, and with great joy in their hearts, the entire host of monkeys began their march towards Kishkinda. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Jambavan, Jai Shri Sita Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamast. Chapter 16 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Sugriva's Madhuvana. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Excited as they were by the good news they were carrying and with the thought of the great fight ahead of them, the monkeys proceeded fast towards their city and soon they reached the outskirts of the city of Kishkinda. On the very edge of the city was a garden, beautiful and exciting. It was almost a forest in size, but it was a well-tended garden. It was inaccessible to everyone and it was called Madhuvana. It belonged to Sugriva. The king's uncle, Dadimukha, was in charge of it. When they saw the garden, the monkeys became extremely excited. They went to their prince Angada and asked him for permission to enter it and to taste of the honeyed wines which were to be found there in plenty. Angada consulted with Jambavan and Hanuman and finally decided that they should be granted the thrill of tasting the madhu in the favorite garden of the king. The entire crowd rushed into the forest and soon each and every one of them was drunk gloriously. The monkeys were already happy and the prospect of tasting the madhu of the king made them jump in joy. They entered the garden and enjoyed themselves to their heart's content. Some began to sing and some were so drunk that they could not walk steadily. Some were dancing and others were laughing for no reason at all. Some were jumping from tree to tree and others were wandering around aimlessly. They were talking incoherently and some embraced each other. There were some tiffs and arguments typical of the intoxication caused by too much drinking. There was not a single monkey who was not drunk and each had drunk until he was satiated. Dadimukha tried to prevent the havoc that they had caused in the garden, and the garden was no ordinary garden. It was the king's garden and he had been guarding it so jealously. He talked to some of them, frightened some of them, threatened some and beat up others. Some he tried to coax with sweet words and not one of them would respond either to his appeals or to his threats. He was dragged here and there by the drunken monkeys and they enjoyed themselves immensely in the garden of their king. Hanuman said, "Drink your fill and do not be afraid of this guard. I will take care of him." Angada heard the words of Hanuman, and approving of them, he said, "Let them drink as much as they wish. They have come back from a long journey with gladness in their hearts, and they should be allowed this pleasure." The entire garden was filled with the monkeys in various stages of intoxication. Dadimukha, who tried to avert the damage to the garden, found it impossible to do so, and he saw that the prince had sanctioned the mischief that was being caused by the monkeys. There ensued a fight between the guards led by Dadimukha and the drunken monkeys. But the guards were not able to quell the army. Even Hanuman joined in the fight. Finally, Dadimukha said, "Let them do what they like. Let us go to the king and tell him he is at the moment on the Prasravana hill with Rama. We will tell him all that has happened here. He is so very fond of this garden. He is sure to punish these intruders. Come, let us go." Soon he was in the presence of Sugriva. He went near his king and prostrated before him. Sugriva looked at him and asked him, "Rise up. What has happened? Why are you so distressed? Tell me everything." And Dadimukha told him about the havoc played by the host of monkeys in Madhuvana, and about Angada and Hanuman allowing and encouraging this outrage. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Ram, Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 16, Part 2 of Ramayana's Sundara Kanda, Sugriva's Madhuvana. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Lakshmana was near Sugriva, and he was listening to the complaint lodged by Dadimukha. He asked Sugriva, "Why has this guardian of the forest come here? What is he so grieved about? I am extremely curious." Sugriva, who was famed for his sagacity, turned to Lakshmana and said, "He is telling me that the Vanara host led by Angada has entered the Madhuvana, my favorite garden. And the garden, he tells me, has been destroyed completely. Contrary to his expectations, I am going to leave them all unpunished, and I will welcome them with open arms and gracious smiles." Dadimukha could not believe his ears when his king spoke thus. Lakshmana turned his inquiring eyes at Sugriva, and the king said, "It seems to me the monkeys whom I had sent down south to search for Sita have returned. They have dared to enter Madhuvana, my garden, which has been zealously guarded by none less than my valiant uncle here. Considering that they have been so bold, it stands to reason that they have succeeded in their quest. I am almost certain that Hanuman must have met Devi Sita. No one else is capable of such valor. Hanuman is the only person I know who can achieve the most difficult task. Hanuman is always efficient, and never once has he failed in any one task he has undertaken. The perseverance, wisdom, firmness, valor, and the power of the intellect are all to be found in this great Vanara Hanuman. And again, Jambavan and Angada are both very wise, and they have been with him to assist him in his enterprise. These two are excellent in organizing, and they know what should be done. And when nothing which Jambavan has planned has ever gone wrong. Now this Madhuvana has been ruined by the host of Vanaras who went southwards. It was led by Angada, and evidently they are armed with good news, and the news must be so dear to my heart that they are sure that the ruin of Madhuvana will not be noticed by me at all. They would never have dared to do so unless they had been sure of my forgiveness. These gods have been hurt because they tried to protect the garden. It is evident that the host of Vanaras is bringing me good news. Consider the circumstances, Lakshmana. They are all only too familiar with the fact that this garden of mine should not be entered by anyone else, and yet they have wrought so much harm to it. They are enjoying themselves so much that I am led to believe that it is their happiness which has granted them so much courage. If they had failed in the quest for Sita, they would have been so depressed they would never have thought of getting drunk and incurring my displeasure. Rama was listening silently to the words of Sugriva, and it was clear to his mind that Sugriva was reasoning well, and he and Lakshmana thought that he had guessed right. They respected the high order of Sugriva's intelligence, and they knew that he was right. Sugriva turned to Dhadimuka and said, "My dear uncle, I am extremely pleased that the Madhuvana has been destroyed by the monkeys. They have made a triumphal entry into the kingdom, and they deserve this privilege of using my garden. I am eager to meet them all, led by Angada, by Jambavan and Hanuman. With Rama and Lakshmana I am waiting here, impatient to hear the news they have brought." Dadimuka went back to Madhuvana in a state of stupefaction. Such a thing had never happened before. He could not understand how the king could forgive such an outrage. As for Sugriva, he was thrilled that he has been able to keep his word to Rama, and that Hanuman and the others had made it possible. Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Sita Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamas.